Welcome back, this is Miss A, my secondary school teacher, talking to you about mistake number 11 to avoid. Only 3 more days until your calculator GCSE Edexcel maths exam. I wanted to go through some topics students make mistakes in when using their calculator in their exam. Some students find that they are obtaining fewer marks in their calculator paper than in their non-calculator paper. They realise their mistakes because they haven't shown their workings fully. The workings you type on the calculator must also be written on your exam paper, even if it's a small calculation. Also, students type the workings incorrectly on their calculators, which also loses their marks. Let's have a look at a couple of student examples. Okay, let's have a look at this question here. So, percentage of amounts. There are 800 students, 45% of these 800 students are girls. Work out 45% of 800. As you can see, you can clearly see that this is wrong. The student has done 45 multiplied by 180 when they should have divided. So, they should have done 45 multiplied by 800 divided by 100. People have different ways of doing this. Some people like to do 45 over 100 first and then multiply it by 100. So either way of these working out is right. This is wrong. Okay, so it's really, really important. Now on your calculator, let me show you. 45 over 100 multiplied by 800, which should give you 360 as your answer. Okay, moving on to the next one. So 176 students in year 10, 176 out of 800 as a percentage. So this is correct because they've written 176 out of 800 and then multiplied it by 100. So the answer is 22%. So they do get the full on 2 marks here. Moving on to the next question, which is standard form. So we have here 8.2 times 10 to the power 5 as an ordinary number. So this student has clearly got it wrong because all the student has done is typed in 8.2 times 10 to the power 5, which is wrong. So on your calculator, just type it in as it is. So let me show you here. 8.2 times 10 to the power of 5. And you get your ordinary number, 820,000. So don't make that mistake of just putting it to the power of 5. You should enter multiply by 10. Another button that I want to show you that you can use is this button here, so if I type it in, 8.2 times 10 to the power x, and all you need to do is do not put the power sign. All you need to write is just 5 next to it and you get the same answer. So you can use that button, but just be really, really careful when you use it. If you're really not comfortable using that button, just stick to typing in 8.2 times 10 to the power of 5. Okay. B, we've got right 0.0000376, the standard form. They've done the jumping and everything correct, but unfortunately they haven't written multiply by 10 to the power of minus 4. So the correct answer is 3.76 times 10 to the power minus 4. Okay, so they've got this wrong as well because they've just typed it in the calculator without the bracket. So you must enter it into your calculator with the brackets. Okay, so on your calculator, so that's 2.3 multiplied by 10 to the power 12 divided by 4.6 multiplied by 10 to the power of 3 gives, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. So that's 5 multiplied by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 10 to the power of 8. Okay. Okay, so looking at this fraction of amounts question, the school has 1,200 pupils. 575 of these pupils are girls. 2/5 of the girls like sports. 3/5 of the boys like sport. Work out the total number of pupils in the school who like sport. Okay, so we've got girls 575, boys 625, 2/5, 3/5, all good here. 1 mark there. Okay. Oh, what have they done here? Trying to do fraction of amounts, but they have put the whole number in the denominator, which is wrong, therefore got a wrong answer as well. So the correct way of showing this is on your calculators, 2/5 multiplied by 575, and here 3/5 multiplied by 625, and let me show you how to put that in your calculator. Use this fraction button here, type in 2/5 and make sure you use the arrow button because you don't want to be writing in the denominator. I think that's what the student has done. 575, and that's 230. Next one. So we have 3/5 and move your arrow again, multiplied by 625, which gives an answer of 375. So it's asking for the total number of pupils in the school who like sport. So we do 375 add 230. Simply add that up on your calculator, 375 add 230, and the answer is 605 pupils altogether. So it's that fraction of amounts that they've made a mistake on, either when they typed on the calculator they just copied as it is, or they've made a little silly mistake there. So just be very, very careful of that. Moving on to Pythagoras. Okay, so they have showed that it's a right angle, calculate the length of QR, give your answer to 2 decimal places. They haven't underlined the key part, but it's Pythagoras, so let's see. I would have underlined length of QR, but it's okay. Correct 2 decimal places, really, really important. Clearly this is wrong. So they've done it correctly. So QR squared plus 8 squared plus 16. Okay, that's correct. And then they rearranged it correctly. So 1 mark up to there, which is good. But they forgot to square root. Well done. Okay, so that's wrong. You need to get QR, you must square root 192. So let's use the calculator now. Square root 192 is equal to 8√3, and they wanted 2 decimal places, so that's 13.86, and that's the correct answer. Okay, so just be aware to square root the answer, don't square it. So a lot of common mistakes, and as you can see on the calculator, the square root and the square button is also next to each other, so that doesn't kind of help either. So just be careful that you press in the right button. Okay, let's have a look at this quadratic formula. So they've written down the correct quadratic formula, but they have, so A equals 3, yeah, B equals 7, they've written C equals 13, but a lot of students make this mistake of not putting it into the quadratic formula correctly. So that should have been minus 13. So showing it to you on the calculator, so you can use this fraction button, minus 7, so let's do the positive first. So that's, I always like to put, if I'm dealing with indices, I put it in brackets as soon as, and if I'm dealing with some numbers which has a negative in front, I also put that in brackets as well. So 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by minus 13, close bracket, make sure you come down fully, 2 multiplied by 3, So I got an answer of that, and they want me to put it into 2 decimal places. So I got 1.22 to 2 decimal places, 1.22. And if I go back, now you don't need to rewrite this whole quadratic formula again, just go back and change that to a subtraction and SD button, and we want to do that to 2 decimal places again, so that's minus 3.55. Okay, so for this question, they've got the correct B equals minus 5, they've got C equals minus 8, which is really, really good. Okay, let's see if they substitute it incorrectly. B are minus B, you've got to be really careful with that. You've already got a minus outside with the B, and you've got to put that into brackets, so that becomes a positive. So they've made that mistake. They haven't put this into brackets, which I'm not happy with. And then also here they've made a mistake that it should be minus 8, not positive 8. Okay, so they've made quite a few errors using the signs there, so let's type it in. So once you type it in with that mistake, obviously you're going to get it wrong, so that's just a 5 plus square root, open bracket, minus 5, close bracket, squared, minus, open bracket, 4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by minus 8, close bracket, and then underneath 2 multiplied by 1, which is equal to 6.27, which is 3 significant figures. Yes, that's 3 significant figures. Remember, you don't need to retype the whole quadratic formula again. Go back and just press subtraction, and that gives you SD button minus 1.27, and yes, that is also to 3 significant figures. Okay, so let's have a look at this trigonometry question. So you've got the opposite and you've got the adjacent, so this student has got that correct, good. And then you got to work out length BC, so they used tan, so where have they gone wrong? Okay, so yeah, they've done the rearranging and everything correctly, however when they put this part into the calculator, they have got a negative value. So what do you need to do in order to get the correct answer? So let me show you here. When you insert tan 36, always close the bracket and then multiply it by the length. So the answer that you get is positive, and when you're rounding it to 3 significant figures is 6.32. What I always tell my students is to do the length first multiplied by tan 36, and it doesn't matter if you close the brackets or not, either way you won't be affected, or you can close the bracket and you still get the correct answer. So always double check that you don't put the whole thing in. Also when you're writing it in, you might want to actually put that part into brackets so you're aware when you're typing it in the calculator. Moving on to question number 4. So another trigonometry question, and where have they gone this time? Okay, so if they used tan, this time we have to work out the angle. And when you work out the angle, always know when to use tan or tan inverse, because here the student has either forgotten or hasn't worked out the tan inverse. So I think they've probably put in tan 5 over 12.5 and they got 6.98, which is wrong. So let's do shift tan, so you get tan inverse. Open your fraction button, so that's 5 over 12.5, and that gives you 21.8 as the answer, and you want to do it to 1 decimal place, so yes, that's correct, 21.8 is the correct answer for this one. Okay, for this question, the student has got 5 marks out of 5 marks here. So let's have a look at what things they could have done to make their workings a lot more simple. For example, this. You do not need to write out the whole thing, you can just leave it as 50 pi. Okay, and towards the end, when you're working out the total cost, that's when you can round it, but no need to write down such a long decimal on your exam paper. Same here, that could have been just 50 pi divided by 2. Same here, that could have just been written as 25 pi. Okay, so that's 50 plus, again, we could have just written 50 plus 25 pi. Some students write down 75 immediately. Remember, they're both not in pi terms, so we need to put this on the calculator. So typing it on the calculator, 50 plus 25 shift pi, which is equal to a long decimal. So this is valid for the student to write down the long decimal. Again, if I was, you can just write 5, 3, dot, 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 because, you know, it's such a long decimal, your time's ticking, and you just want to hurry up and answer the question. So again, underneath, 128.53 dot, 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 multiplied by £29.86. So on the calculator. Now, because I've asked you to put dot, because I've said put dot, 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 now if you go back to the calculator, you don't need to memorize that, or you don't need to really write that down on your calculator and then copy it onto your calculator. So all you can do is just the answer button here. Now if you just simply put multiplication, the answer, so 128.53 etc., is already memorized on the calculator. So that's multiplied by £29.86, which is equal to £3,838, and because I want it in pence, they've done it in 20 pence. So this student has come up to that point, but and then can you see how short and sweet and detailed my workings out, and this student has tried to fit everything in, especially the long decimals. Okay, so try and keep it short and sweet. So that's 180 multiplied by 3, because 3 days, right? Perfect. So that's 540. So this process here just stuck to the 20p at the end, so I would just write £3,838.20 plus 540, which is equal to £4,378.20. You can put that in the calculator yourself. Okay, so try not to, some students like to just write everything, but just be aware of that, because you could be wasting time. So yes.
One final tip is, before you go to any exam, please reset your calculator, and this is how to reset your calculator.
Okay, to reset your button, you press Shift 9 to clear it, reset all, so that's number 3, yes equals, and then back to AC. This is really, really important for you to reset, just in case anything in the background that messes it up when you do calculations.
So to summarise, percentage of amounts, always divide by 100. Standard form, use this button here and the brackets correctly on the calculator. Fraction of amounts, use the fraction button and arrow keys. Pythagoras, square root button. Trigonometry, you've got the sine, cos, tan and shift them for the inverse, and make sure you put it in degrees mode. The quadratic formula, always be careful with the signs. Use the ANS button to help you go back to the answer rather than typing it all out again. And one last thing, reset your calculator before you go to any exam, and the images at the bottom show you how to reset it. If not, if you go a couple of minutes back, I have shown it to you. Please make sure, I really hope you've taken my tips on board and you won't make this mistake when doing revision and practicing calculator exam questions. Please don't forget to check what you are typing on the calculator is correct, and show all the workings that you have typed on the calculator onto your exam paper. You're doing yourself a favour by not losing marks. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments below the video, and I will try my best to quickly respond as possible. Please don't forget to like, comment and share this with your friends and family. Please also subscribe to this channel to see more useful tips. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.